Noise. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we're here for Summit on a Sunday. Make some noise. Beautiful. Oh, it is Saturday. We're here for Summit on a Saturday. Guys, we have Julie at the bar taking care of everybody. Make some noise for Julie, keeping us all drinking, having a good time. During the show, all we ask for is no table conversation, never any heckling, always have a good time. But right now, make some noise for your resident fact checker, a favorite here at the Improv, Mr. Dustin David.
All right, how we doing tonight, people? Cool. What's the bank? How we doing? Make some. You're at a comedy show, people. So, since the political show, they wanted me to do political material up front. We'll see. I was watching the news the other day, and U.S. Ambassador Gordon Sondland was overhearing a phone call President Trump. This is a true story. Also cited for the joke. Pay attention. Somebody overheard Sondland say to Trump, he's talking about Zelensky. Trump was worried. Sondland said, Zelensky loves your ass. Direct quote. He said he loves your ass, which it depends on how you put the emphasis on the phrase. If you say like, oh dude, loves your ass, very bro-y, very casual. But when Wolf Blitzer reads it from a piece of paper very factually and says, said he loves your ass, when you put the emphasis on it's a different, I just imagine people outside Zelensky's apartment like, dude, what? No, whose ass? What? He didn't actually say that. Went okay, all right. Here's all the political material I wrote. Trying to quit smoking is tough. Guys ever tried to quit smoking? Round of applause. Have? Some of you have probably. This motherfucker. I was doing a show one night. I'm at a bar, showing pretty good. After the show, guy was like, hey, it was a good set. Can I buy you a drink? And I go, it's okay. I don't drink anymore. He goes, you don't drink? And I go, no. And he goes, but you still smoke cigarettes? And I was like, that is correct. And he goes, well, I think that smoking cigarettes is worse than drinking. And I go, I think you've never seen me drunk. Because I've never smoked a cigarette and woke up in jail before. Never smoked a cigarette and wound up in Glendale smoking crack. That's what happened when you drink. Maybe not you, definitely me. Whoa, what else do we got? So a few months ago, I went to the Women's March downtown. You can applaud. Supporting a bunch of great causes. The Women's March was amazing. I was walking around. A lot of sixes, a lot of sevens. Kidding. That's horrible. Could you imagine? Could you? My girlfriend hates that joke. She's like, you got to stop doing that. She doesn't like the first part. But I did go to the march with a dear friend of mine who's here tonight. Round of applause. Give up my friend Brandon who came out tonight. So sweet. We went to go support the march. We were down there, and they're like, we're going to hear some speeches, and then we're going to go march on City Hall. And I was like, that sounds great. So we're there for the speeches. And then some dude, I don't think the governor, is like a senator or something. He was there. He was doing a speech. And he said, we got to get that pussy grabber out of the White House. And everybody went crazy. And I was like, it sounds like he's kind of on our team here. Are we still going to march, though? Because that's like where he works. Is that? And they're like, it's a symbol. We're going. All right. So everybody marches down. There's like 500,000 people march down to City Hall. And then we get there. And I was like, he's back at the, it's fine. We're here. And as like 500,000 people descend on City Hall, there's like a homeless guy who's like smoking a joint. He doesn't know there's a march. He's just hanging out, smoking a joint with like one shoe on, and he just sees 500,000 people with signs and shit coming up. And he was just like, I don't work here, just in case you guys thought that's what was going on. Do you feel warmed up for the show? Are you people ready? Oh, guys, hell of a show tonight. Very excited to bring together the two producers of the show. Please give a huge round of applause for Louie, Sabatasso, and Darrell, Hammond, everybody.
Hey, everybody. How are
Hi.
you?
Hi. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Very nice crowd tonight,
I thought
Darrell.
we were getting a new table tonight, no?
No, the new table comes next week. We ordered a new table that's Claire, the ex-girlfriend who comes to all my shows, a little weird, ordered a table for us, a 60-incher. So this is probably it'll be twice as big as this.
I'm still threatening to move the show to Denny's. I want that fucking table. I don't care. How are you?
Well, we're on it. We got it. We got it approved.
Is it
was
warm in
approved.
here?
I have it as cold as it could be, Darrell. Should we lose the
Shit.
jacket now?
Still pretty warm.
Fuck.
I mean,
I have cuts on my arms, dickhead.
oh. All right, well then. Oh, all right. All right. We're gonna have to get into that. We had a
We have
Darrell
a
and I,
rocky past.
we both have a bit of a rocky past. Little bit of a rocky past. In fact, Darrell and I were having a really fun conversation this week when we were in the back of an Uber, and Darrell was telling me about this intake, this intake person.
Should we tell them about the cuts first now that we brought it up?
Sure. I mean, you brought it up.
I used to be a cutter. Not a big deal, but it's embarrassing sometimes. Because people look at it and go, wait, weren't you on TV?
You can
Fuck
cut
would
and
you
be on
cut
TV.
for?
Yeah.
All right, we're good. Thanks for remaining quiet during the evening's dramatic passages,
We appreciate that.
which we put in.
It's amazing because Darrell, you used to cut, but you also had an amazing dream about being backstage at SNL this week. Because we were talking about dreams. Darrell and I talk about weird shit. For a couple of dudes.
I didn't think it was that great. I just dreamed I did SNL a couple weeks ago. And, I'm the announcer on the show now. But I also, I guess, fuck it. And I went on camera and did Clinton a couple weeks ago. And anyway, I keep having this dream that I'm at SNL and no place to pee. Somebody know how to read dreams?
And he's about to go on, and you can't because you have to pee.
I can't go on because I have to pee so bad, and for some reason SNL no longer has a place to pee, so I'm walking around asking people. They're like, what? We know where to pee. How come you don't know where to fucking pee? I'm like,
Any dream readers here? I had a dream. There was a dream that I used to have about I'd be on a chairlift naked.
chairlift where?
Chairlift up a mountain, like skiing, and I would be on the chairlift completely, and then realize, wow, I'm not with any clothes, and I have to get off the chairlift up here and ski down the thing, but completely naked. Well, I mean, I could have happened, but I don't think so.
That in Aspen with your sister?
Yeah,
and
is
Chris?
there particular ski slopes? Because the gentleman thinks it's not a dream.
Well, hey, listen, I obviously didn't ski naked.
That's not obvious.
Well, I didn't ski naked. I would have skied naked, but just didn't.
That's not what the Ed, audience member from Iowa, says in the back. He says he might have seen it. Okay, moving on.
So
yeah.
we talked about our dreams, and we talked about which I think was amazing was the intake person at your rehab.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we've been to rehab, Darrell and I, several times. Anybody else been to rehab here? How about mental hospitals? Any mental hospitals? All right, we're alone on that one.
I don't know if it's that great of a story, but your judgment is pretty good.
I like it. I think it's a good, effective situation that he found himself in with a very specific person.
All right. I was being checked in. I've been in there at Sierra Tucson twice, and I was being checked in middle of the night and so forth. And there was somebody there typing and checking me in. I don't know why he thinks this is so funny.
I
but-
love this story. It's a
all
good
right.
one.
So she's typing, getting information. At one point, she goes, "Are you intelligent?"
Just like that.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. the name, date, birth, serial, everywhere you're from, blah, blah, blah. Are you intelligent? I go, nope. She goes, okay. Do you have any talent? I was like, nope. Okay. And later I saw her. I saw her on campus. And so she said, I walked by her and she goes, did you just rip ass? I go, what? She goes, did you rip ass? I go, no. And her friend goes, what's wrong? This guy over here, he totally just ripped ass. That's the story.
That's what it. And that can happen in rehab often.
Yeah,
especially with the intake, because I've been through many an intake in rehab, and it can get very
some say
specific.
Rehab is a life or death situation, so you have someone indoctrinating you, just go, not even paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope, not smart, no talent. From outer space.
They do ask some very strange questions, though. An intake in rehab. They do. They ask some very, very strange.
Tell us more.
Well, listen, you get questioned by every person, everything as you're going in rehab. I was at a rehab called Impact years and years ago when I was a kid. And
for
narcotics,
okay.
Darrell. I'm getting to that point of the story.
Sorry.
Because I'm sitting there, and it was with a lot of gentlemen who went straight from prison to this rehab, or from county jail to this rehab, or like myself, from Encino to Newport Beach to this rehab. So I'm sitting there, and this guy comes. This guy goes. He's like, this one gentleman came up to. His name was Larry Hogrule.
Wait.
And he goes.
Could you make that sound again?
He goes, Louie, what was you doing out there, boy? Was you drinking Coronas? Was you smoking weed? What was you doing, boy? I was like, no, actually, I was doing heroin. No, Louie, no. Yes, oh, how was you doing it, boy? Was you smoking it? Was you chasing the dragon? No, Larry, actually, I was shooting it. No, Louie! Demonstrative Larry questioning me in the rehab.
I hope he was not a counselor.
He was.
He was a counselor talking to you like that?
Mm-hmm. He was my counselor in the rehab. And it was actually very helpful. He was a very helpful counselor. It didn't take. This was a long time ago, and I've been in several since.
The first time I went to a rehab, the guy, my main counselor that I saw every day and who renewed my faith in life and in myself and all the potential of being sober, on the final day he gives me a script to give to Lauren Michaels. Just like, do a brother a favor, to take this to the law and shit, 'cause I'm working on that really hard.
Did you give it to him?
He gave me the script.
Did you give it to Lauren Michaels?
Oh, man, I don't have that kind of power.
Was the script good?
I didn't read the script.
Good.
I had like renewed faith in life and shit, and it turns out the guy was working me the whole fucking time.
That would be called crossing a line.
It was a really big sinner too. Yeah, like famous one.
That would be in the business known as crossing a boundary.
Yeah.
Crossing a boundary, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of like, never mind.
No, please.
Well, there was a urine contest. No, there was a urine thing where, I don't know why it's a contest. There was this urine thing where this guy comes in and he's acting like he's a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had that happen?
No.
And they need to touch just above.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this happened in rehab?
It did. But I don't have the money to sue the big people,
Yeah.
Like, they're really big people. You can't sue them.
Well, you could.
I just left the center.
Did he touch you inappropriately?
I didn't let him go towards the pubic region. No, he wanted to.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for remaining quiet. During the evening's dramatic passion. See, sometimes we're wildly
We
funny.
both
but
have trauma that we deal with, and this is a
Yeah.
lot of the trauma that comes up. You know,
yeah, and
it's
some of the trauma's not funny, although I like your Beauregard, or whatever that guy's name was.
which one, Larry?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But I also like Shorty.
Yeah. Well, Shorty was last week, but Shorty was great. Shorty's a very similar sort of character as to Larry.
Similar voice.
Similar voice. Similar voice.
Why do people have podcasts? What are we? Exactly what is this? It gets really good. That's the problem. When the other people come out.
Yeah. When we get more people on stage.
When
But
we get-
why do people do pod? And there's like like how many podcasts are there now?
7.
That's our
Actually-
fact checker, Dustin. I'm sneaking suspicion that's not accurate.
I was probably maybe like 8 or 9. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of podcasts. And I think people do podcasts because you can literally just sit at a table like this with a microphone and a little thing and just talk and put it out there and tell people that's a podcast.
Yeah. It is so.
I really think there's not a. I think sort of anybody can do it.
But not everyone has a political analyst.
Oh, are we getting the light?
Oh, yeah.
We're getting the hook.
We're
Dustin is giving us the hook because we're being boring.
We're gonna bring up our political strategist.
Sounds good to me.
Could the improv put
Our-
another log on that air conditioner? Sorry.
All right,
It
Dustin,
gives
are you
me
bringing this? Are you bringing
Great
up-
pleasure to bring up a
Fuck.
resident political strategist and the founder of Common Ally, a nonpartisan political app. Please give a huge round of applause for Aaron Lyle.
Hi, Aaron.
Hello.
It's my hand.
Wow,
Hey,
that's
Aaron.
very
That's
formal.
why we have
Can
to
I
keep
have
it
your
formal.
hand too?
Thanks for the wind you just brought.
Yeah, sure.
Just move back slightly.
Yeah, I don't
Now,
wanna-
now you're going to
I don't
see
wanna
why we
block
do
you.
this show because
Yeah.
we bring serious people on. He's going to tell us
What's
what
going
happened
on?
this week.
First
on
of
the
all, I
planet.
love that last week I was a normie, and this week I'm the serious person.
Well, you are a serious guy, but you are a normie.
Very-
You're a
you know?
very
Yeah.
entertaining,
I guess I'm
serious
Yeah.
guy.
Did you have any? You've never been to jail, never been to a nut house,
I tried to get in.
not even been on. Do you have a shrink?
I did when I was a kid. See, I got this out of the way early.
Yeah. Okay.
I was really fucked up when I was young,
Oh.
right? So if you get that out of your system when you're really little,
Apparently, well,
you kind of you can get to this plateau area, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I'm
was at
still
a shrink when
figuring
I
it
was
out.
little. It didn't take.
Yeah. They tried treatment on me. It didn't take.
Yeah.
Didn't really work. Dr.
Well, I think
Wilson.
If
I
you
went
ask
to.
people that know me, I think they'd say it didn't take with me either.
Well,
But no jail, no institutions. But
yeah.
you know, I'm only 40, so there's
But
time.
you're smart as fuck,
Ooh.
and you have something to say today.
smart AF.
I have a couple things, yeah, and we have an amazing guest today too. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. Obviously, there always is in this political climate that we find ourselves in.
Yeah. And did you watch the? I'm going to interview him.
Yes,
Oh,
please
I
do.
like this.
Did you spend any time watching the impeachment hearings?
I did. So first day I went all in, and I was just glued to it. And then the second one I was kind of going in and out on it, and then caught it later. But I did. Question me.
Well.
No.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, I was practicing.
well, what did you think of the strategy? The Republican strategy was to say secondhand, third-hand, fourth-hand information. I thought that
Which was
cool.
actually what.
I thought it was pretty clever.
It's also kind of getting blown up now too, because yeah, I mean the hearsay thing is kind of going out the window.
How come?
Well, now we have first-hand accounts on the things that were hearsay.
By
So the gentleman who witnessed it, I don't know his name.
David
See-
Holmes.
see how we set
ladies
that
and
up so
gentlemen.
perfectly?
David Holmes.
he
Someone
was
back there knows.
Okay.
David
Dave-
Holmes was the staff member that
overheard a
overheard the
Trump
conversation from
phone call.
Sondland.
and heard Trump's voice say what?
Yeah, and that was a new revelation from Taylor at the first day of the hearings, and he was overheard saying he was pushing the investigation to Sondland, and Sondland took the call on his cell phone in a restaurant, which was clearly also probably being tapped by Ukraine and Russia, which is always really neat.
For those who don't know this, only nerds know this, but Trump uses an unsecured telephone.
Yeah, you know,
He just uses his old cell phone.
He's the president.
His usual.
He does. He
the
uses
one he
his old
brings.
cell phone.
the- it's
He
the
won't
razor.
use
The razor, right? That's the
The
one you like?
iPhone 4.
He's got the iPhone 4.
My
Yeah.
wife loves the razor, and
So
apparently
anyone,
doesn't
you know,
want
we
to.
could go down to the spy shop and pick up some equipment for like $1,000
And listen in on those phone calls.
Yeah,
and listen to his phone calls and read his text.
yeah. Well, I think the deep state already put it on the web, didn't they?
And who is the deep state?
Yeah. No, I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
Because I want to know what the deep state is one day.
Yeah, what is the deep state considered?
Well,
I mean,
I'm
people
not an
throw
expert
out
on the deep state. by the
deep
way.
state, but what is the deep state
They do
considered?
secret shit.
I get it,
It's
but it's
just
like
it's a underlying force apparently that is pulling the strings behind the government.
It's groups within groups, unknown to the highest levels of government, even the president.
Yeah, allegedly.
yeah, that's
I
It's
got
pretty
that
deep.
from I got that from the X Files.
Well,
That's the world we live in.
I
now,
got that
so
from
yeah.
Mulder.
says the deep state is a body of people, typically influential members of government agencies or the military, believed to be involved in the secret manipulation or control of government policy.
How do
What-
they How do they do it secretly?
it's
Do they threaten people?
You'll never know.
I know.
Darrell.
I know.
I was talking to a buddy, and he was saying the deep state is like people like deeply entrenched in Washington. You know, like Nancy Pelosi is considered deep state. John McCain was considered deep state. These like career, the
Wait,
guys
who
who are
told you that?
decades, and I can't say because he's a public figure, but he
This is Trump.
it was not Trump. It was a gentleman who has a magazine. It's
It's just so valid.
the magazine. All right,
It's a
it was,
bus driver.
We're contributing to conspiracy theories right now.
no, and he was,
Um,
and he said, and his guy's in media, and he said, he's like, that's what people consider the deep state, Pelosi, and I said, well, so Lindsey Graham would be deep state too, then by that rationality.
I think Comey
Right?
was wrapped into
And
that as
Comey,
well,
it's like
yeah.
all of them. And I think they really believe that. So every time you're watching the news right now and they're saying, you know, Trump is it's this career diplomat who's been working in the government for 50 years. They've planted that deep state thing. All people hear when they hear that now, or a lot of people hear is, oh, that's deep state. 50 years. Deep state going after Trump, going after the outsider. You know?
Yeah, it's that little bit of have truths that might be somewhere in there,
Misinformation,
the
yeah.
misinformation that creates this like loss of faith in the institution and in government, and that our vote matters, and that there's always something else, and that's all it takes. And I think we've talked a lot about
It creates this sort of learned helplessness that,
Yeah.
like if you put fleas in a jar,
Yeah.
and
Wait,
they'll
which
try-
you do, obviously.
I've done this,
Yeah.
and they try to get out for a little while, and then after a while they realize they can't get out, and then you take the lid off. They don't try anymore.
Yeah.
Is it like that
It's a little like that.
in the deep state?
It says I was still in the jar, but
Okay.
yeah.
Can PETA get on us for the
flea
No,
comment?
not for the flea
Hopefully,
comment.
we could
For
probably use
torturing
PETA
fleas?
right now.
Well, I'm
Let me
not
text.
fleaist.
Um, so some of the things I'd like to bring up too, I'd love to bring up with our guests. So what do you think about bringing up our guest for some of this?
Are we already getting the hook again?
Are we-
No,
I-
this is a
This is
this
second
Be a
hook.
nice. I want to. Okay.
I want to
Hold-
know
hold up.
what
I'm anxious.
what else was going on this week that you want to talk about.
So not necessarily this week, except for Kanye running in 2024, Clinton saying she's potentially getting back in the race. You know, those are
Does
minor.
anybody want Clinton to get in the
Um,
race this time again? And I can imagine there's a lot of liberals in this audience, right? Nobody wants to
Every
for
time we
Hillary to
say
get
that,
involved.
though, there's definitely some
This is interest.
conservatives out there. And
I understand, but
centrists.
nobody in this audience wants Hillary back. On nobody. I'm seeing a lot of heads shaking.
Well, you
now.
could do a round of applause.
Yeah,
that way
let's
you
do
can get
that.
A good, accurate sound.
Yeah,
For
let's
ye-
let's
yes.
applause. For
Do
the
we?
yes.
How about Hillary Clinton stays off the ballot, out of the. Okay, so we like.
There
it.
you go.
So some of you agree that the reason we have Donald Trump is because Hillary Clinton was, in my estimation, kind of unelectable. Right? Okay.
Fact check. She did win the popular vote.
It's not the
She
way
got
this.
3 million more votes than the president.
Yeah. So,
Those were illegals voting and
Yeah,
cows,
yeah.
according to Mr. Trump.
fact check.
What?
That's not true.
No,
Come on, Louie. Let's hear the. Come on, Dustin. What's true?
The truth is,
How many?
he tried to perpetuate the lie that there
Give
was
me all
many
truths.
illegal people or people
tremendous
that were voting
amount.
illegally, and they had huge government agencies do massive sweeps, and they didn't find anything. There's maybe 12 ballots.
That's the only
Didn't they
reason.
shut down the whole like organization they started to look into
Yeah,
election interference?
yeah. The election
came up with
committee,
nothing, everyone
fraudulent
went
election
home.
committee.
That was nice.
But see, that's what people say. That's why the Democrats want to help all the Latino and the immigrants and all.
Well,
of
they
that
say
'cause
that's why they want open borders. Yeah.
they want more voters.
Yeah,
They
more
want more
people
voters.
voting is, I thought, what we all kind
That's
of
on a
stood
We
bar.
for.
just-
That's
but,
on
you
a
know.
bar stool outside of Fox News on
Yeah,
6th
it's
Avenue in New York City.
If
They
we have
want
an
more
obj-
voters.
if we have an objective on this show, we just want Aaron as a common ally, right? And
Yes.
Aaron's objective with his whole platform is just for people to vote. Like, I don't care who you vote for. I just want people to vote. We want people to vote. We want to preserve our democracy, especially with all the fear and all the stuff coming up now about our democracy could be in peril.
Yeah.
I
That's-
just want our democracy preserved. That's it. If
And
I
it's-
know that, I'm cool.
Voting is definitely the backbone of all of it because we get nowhere if we don't actually vote.
And,
for our
and can we
interests.
talk about the story of the New York Times this week about
Please.
the Kentucky
Yeah.
Oh, this was
gubernatorial
good.
elections?
Please. Yeah, there's a few
Someone
subjects.
sent out a tweet that said,
It's that someone has 19 followers as well.
a guy with 19 followers just put out this tweet, a girl or guy, that said that they're burning the Republican ballots.
Just ripped up a bunch of Republican ballots.
Don't
yeah.
bother voting.
Don't
Yes.
bother voting. We've already sabotaged the election.
Yep.
And people stayed home.
In theory, people stayed home.
Well, the,
But-
let's see.
Well, that's not
He
even
said
the
he
point. That
just
isn't even
shredded
the
a
point.
box of
The
Republican
point is
mail-in
that if the
ballots.
governor wants to come out and say these results are tainted,
And
I
that's
don't
it.
accept this defeat.
That's the problem.
Let's go to the Supreme Court where I have 3 justices waiting to vote me right back into office.
And yeah, exactly. They sowed just the right amount of doubt with one tweet.
So that's
tweet
one
got
tweet.
picked up by I think it was 3,000 accounts, of which about I don't know, it was more than half. It was probably about 60% of those accounts that retweeted were bots. Some were human, some were bots, and that was all it took for them to then retweet it officially and to say, "Hey, I don't know, like something's going on." And now people who already believe something's going on, that's all they need.
Well, here's the thing that's good about that is that now, because this happened in a, and I guess sort of an off year because it's, this was governors and not a national election year, because it happened and I hope that story has legs and keeps good, because then people will realize that you don't listen to tweets on election day. You just go vote. You don't listen to a tweet that's going to sway you
Fact
from
check.
doing this or that.
The people voted. The problem was at Overlord Kraken 1, the person who sent the tweet out.
I mean,
said
I would
that-
listen to
that's
it.
actually
from
Darrell's
at
account.
Destroyed
Overlord
votes
Kraken 1.
after the
Why not?
fact.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, this was after, so they could say that, hey, this guy destroyed ballots. This isn't a real thing, despite the fact that of the 3,800 accounts that VineSite, who checks accuracy in Twitter, detected tweeting the screenshot, 2,350 appeared to be bots.
So the Republican incumbent governor could legitimately make a credible claim these election results are tainted.
Well, I don't know if it's
So
credible,
some
but it
doubt
is
in the
certainly a
people.
So what
claim.
Yeah,
if
in the
on
process,
election day,
yeah.
November 20, we have 50 states reporting
Mhm.
stuff like that?
Yeah, and there are bills waiting
Did
in
anyone
the
say
Senate.
out there?
Yeah, I hear some.
Can I-
I
yeah.
like that.
I want to hear from that gentleman if you go into the
Yeah,
audience.
when it's
Yeah,
audience time.
I
When
don't.
it's
I
audience
have to
time.
get
He's
the,
our first
the cordless,
victim.
The cordless.
Get him.
What do you guys think of, since we're talking 2020 really quick, the fact that Mayor Pete is now surging ahead in Iowa? Does anybody here think Mayor Pete is electable, and does anybody here want to see Mayor Pete win the Democratic nomination?
By show of
Uh-oh.
applause.
Yeah?
Mayor Pete.
I like Mayor
The
Pete.
guy's
And
got
for
nothing.
Lauren, Mayor Pete is running for president.
Pete Buttigieg. He's
We have someone in the audience with a lot of
He's
questions.
the guy that's married to a male.
who is a war vet, and
Who's
he's
a war vet.
and he's a mayor.
He was on the cover of Time magazine with his spouse.
Can he go toe to toe with Trump in a debate?
I think so.
Well,
I think
here's-
it'd be
here's the
interesting.
interesting
Are
thing
we
about-
basing this on?
Here's the interesting
intelligence?
about Mayor Pete. He doesn't have any end zone for Trump to score in. It's
great
all
call.
out in the open.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, he's also a pretty devout Christian as well. So I think he confuses a lot of people of just like, how do I feel about this? He's a Christian, but he's gay, but he's a war vet. So I
Yeah,
think there's probably people who are like punching
yeah, but he
themselves
was
in the
b-
face.
Yeah.
We're
but
talking
people really
gay.
like
We're
that.
talking end zones to score in.
Oh, no one's
See what
gonna
I'm
bring
sa-
up gay. in
Listen,
the
I'm
debate.
just
That's
saying.
not where we were going.
But I'm
Louie.
just
I
saying
wouldn't
this
put it
is the
past
this
Trump.
this
You
could
with
be
the
the
gay
problem.
Hey,
this
we're at the
could be the
Improv.
problem.
Yes,
with
and
Pete Buttigieg.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's been a strength so far, and it doesn't actually come up. I mean, he talks on substance.
I like him.
I like him a lot.
I think
like
he's great.
Their best candidate.
Yeah.
But who's the other guy you think is gay?
No, I did not think anybody else
He
was
claimed
gay.
Booker was last
I
week.
did
Oh.
not claim Booker was gay. Bridget, who we all have to think about today, because she's not with us. She'll be back
She's-
next week.
She's alive.
no.
you
No.
can't
She's
phrase
not
it
with us
like
on
that,
stage.
She's not on stage. Hey,
She's
Bridget.
with us.
She's
You
no
will see,
longer with
she's,
us.
She's sort of the spiritual force. We're much better when she's not around.
She's
when
great.
She's
and
around,
she
I mean.
said,
Yeah.
I said the thing about Pete, and then she said, and I said he's the only known homosexual in the Democratic field. And she's like, oh, you mean Booker? And I was like, I didn't say Booker.
Oh.
That was the backstory.
You thought,
But then
about
you
that.
explored the theory with her.
Well, I explored it in terms of like, why would she think that Cory Booker was? Not that there's anything wrong with that if he was. Totally fine. I would think it'd be great if Cory was.
We start on the rails, and then somehow the train just
Yeah,
hits a tree.
It's in our nature.
I kind of like it.
It's in Louie's and my nature.
Hey,
That's why
Alex,
we bring
look,
you legit
I'm
people
in this
on.
club. I'm gonna get in. I'm a.
We
There's
like
enough
you right where you
mania
are.
somewhere.
We have to keep
So
it.
clap
we have
if you
to keep,
can. Somebody can we ask clap if you like Mayor Pete?
We already did that. Yeah.
That was more official though. That sounded bigger.
Well, they like to clap more when Darrell asks for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Than I do. I mean, that's very obvious.
It is. It's the nature of
Okay.
of the dynamic.
Let me ask you this: What about Elizabeth Warren? Yeah.
Let's go through all 40 of them.
How about Biden? Any Bidens?
What about Kanye
Why
West?
did
Biden.
Trump's strategy of calling him Sleepy Joe work on you?
No, I think he did it himself.
How about little Michael Bloomberg? Oh boy! All right, we got one.
Well, he was a
I'm
great.
not a Bloomberg fan. Ah, all right, nice.
Well, he was a great mayor. Accused of stop and frisk a little bit, though, right?
I thought that was Giuliani
Yeah.
that did stop and frisk.
No, he did Get Out of Here, Mafia, and I'm taking over 9/11.
Giuliani
and
was
then
actually
he's-
of unimpeachable, like the best cop ever.
Yeah.
Like he cleaned up New York City.
But
He
he
just
did
like
it with stop and
rode
frisk,
off
didn't
at
he?
that time.
He didn't do stop. Not that I've never heard of that attributed to him.
It was a little after that, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Fact check,
in
stop and
the
frisk, this can be-
1990s, William Bratton, high-ranking police officials, widely incorporated the use of stop and frisk.
During Giuliani's.
Yeah.
In the 90s? Let's see.
Is that another New York voice?
We love it. Let's bring up Shane.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
All right.
Shane Black.
Let me get the intro ready. Dun, 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 dun.
We are like
Ladies
just a
and
finely
gentlemen,
tuned watch.
Gives
We're
me
so
great
smooth.
pleasure to bring to the stage writer and director, longtime student of LA, from polluted cesspool to modern clean wasteland. Please give it up for Shane Black.
Hey, Shane.
You guys better give him that formal handshake that I got, please.
Hi, Shane.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Welcome, sir.
This is my buddy Shane Black.
Yes. How you doing, guys? I've been listening to you go on and on.
Okay. All right. Well, that happens.
Did
you
we
know.
make sense?
I'm not, I actually think you made some very, very interesting points. But
Like
I'm
what?
really impressed, I must say, with the fact checker who is just, you guys are like, and he's
Yeah.
just on it, man.
On it.
You're
That's
welcome.
why we're so carefree, because we know
Because
like,
we know we got Dustin.
Mama Bear's back there helping us out.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah, so, no, very interesting stuff. We live in terrible times, so it's nice to make some some jokes about it. When are you going to start?
What did you?
How
What
did I
did you?
become the comedian? Well, I'm sitting next to a legend, and I'm the funny one. How is
What
that
did you
happening?
find?
No.
What did you find interesting, specifically?
Well, mostly too, it's just this idea. I think living today, that no matter what happens, if you don't like it, it's part of this thing that the deep state. That somehow I think it has its roots in like the Illuminati or the Masons, and then the Bohemian Grove, even all these things where we assume behind the scenes there's somehow captains of industry or political figures that can miraculously do this without arousing any,
That set
red
up world
flags.
assassinations.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And it's you can't prove it false.
Right.
It's like the people when they said the
Yeah.
Pentagon back in on 9/11 was hit by a missile. You just don't think it through. They said that wasn't a plane, that was a missile. They called it a plane. They said, okay, well, let's see the strategy where that happened. They sat in the room and said, okay, we're going to hit it with a missile, but we'll say it's a plane. But it's coming in over the freeway. There's 1,000 people looking up. Well, they'll just think it's a plane. It doesn't make sense if you try to picture the actual planning of it. Same thing with the deep state. It falls apart if you think about it, but it's fine to say.
But it puts a question out there. I think that's the biggest thing, and that's what happened in Kentucky too. Like it's just
Yeah, and
that-
Trump has this sort of genius, this fake news thing he brought in. Like
Yeah.
that sooner or later you start going, hey, wait, is that true?
But Trump does something remarkable. He'll say something on Tuesday, and everyone says, that is just not true. She didn't bring 14 million jobs to America. Your daughter did not do that. That's false. Then on Thursday, he says it again.
yeah, repetition.
And
It's
on
called double
Saturday,
down.
he says it again. He will not
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah. We talked about that last week about using projection and using repetition as part of the mini tools that they have that are actually effective.
What kind of creature is this guy? I mean, people want to go, he's a con artist, he's a scam artist, he's a sociopath, he's a monster, he's a genius,
It's a grifter.
He
He's a
might be all
grifter.
of them.
Yeah.
I
love
have
to
a
say grifter.
theory, actually.
Let's hear it.
There's a famous photograph of Trump, and in his office, and in the background, there's an open drawer, and in it you see stacked upon stack of Sudafed boxes, just one after another of Sudafed. So basically, one of his employees on The Apprentice says he eats those things like candy. So if you microdose Sudafed for 10 years, what happens? You become paranoid, illogical, erratic, irritable. You're microdosing speed, and it's having a long-term cumulative effect of rendering
Adderall
you.
was a part of that too. right?
Adderall. He's a drug addict in the White House.
So we're saying he's in meth psychosis all the time.
Well, Shane,
was in that
Shane is
psychosis.
saying that. I don't
Shane
know if
is
you want to
saying
say
that.
we.
Wait,
but-
where's
Summit's not saying that.
You're
is
a
your-
drug addict. I was a drug addict. I went
I
to the
w-
same
yeah.
rehab probably that you went to. So
Well, I've been to
gotta
all
do
of
more
them, so that's
drugs.
safe to say.
Is that okay, honey?
I've been to many.
I feel like I need to.
You can just say, yeah, but I don't think, I mean, it's because then there's also, I'm sure everybody's heard this, maybe not, but there's a lot of theories that Trump is actually snorting, and this is a theory. I'm not saying this is true, but this Trump actually snorts Adderall like all day long.
Fact check, Louie. That's not true.
it's not true that it's a
But
theory.
we can't just.
It's a theory. People, has anybody else heard that? I'm the only person in this room that's heard that Trump snorts Adderall.
I
No,
saw
no,
the
no, I
picture of
heard.
the Sudafed.
I had heard
Well,
that he was prescribed Adderall in the 90s, and that was the longest.
he saved
the
it.
most recently that they. Yeah.
It's fermented.
He
which
saved
is-
it up, and now he's snorting it in the White House.
Can you do Trump on Adderall? all the time?
This is the first I've ever heard. All I know is, I don't care what you say to the guy or what's on the news about him or what the accusations are. I mean, you're talking. How many women have accused him of sexual assault, Dustin?
Let me check.
Several.
And how many cases are pending in the Southern District of New York, which is more thorough and aggressive than the FBI?
Yeah,
Several.
It's like 14.
So you have all of that, and you have Washington Post coming out saying they have video. So this is not hearsay. On video, he's lied more than 10,000 times. And well, how does that affect him? It doesn't affect him. Like, video of you lying 10,000 times, 29 women accusing you of sexual assault. It's like, yeah, and
Well, it doesn't affect the people.
Your point is,
It doesn't affect the people who
if I had
believe
a dollar
in him
for
either.
every time, hey, wait a minute, I do. Right?
But that's the thing.
Well,
I mean,
but that's if you really believe that he has said 10,000
most people,
lies.
when you say,
lies.
because they include this and it's insidious, they say lies or misleading statements. So that gives the conservative, oh, well, now they're just looping in everything.
Yep.
If they, he doesn't even have to tell a lie. They just think it's misleading. It's really about 2, and they've got it up to 14,000 now.
If it's misleading adjacent,
But the
People
truth,
seem
the
to say
objective
that-
truth,
Look,
doesn't matter anymore.
It's just, yeah, that's the problem, is that he lies and then he lies again. And he doesn't concern himself with it, A, because either he is on drugs, and when you're on drugs, you don't really give a shit. You just let life go by. Or,
for the record, for any, we're not taking the position that Trump is on drugs.
no one's taking a position. I'm
Or
saying-
even that he tells untruths.
I think that one's pretty safe.
I think Trump has a different relationship with the truth than we do. He has a different relationship with what the truth is, I think. I
In
honestly
other words,
think
in
that's
your
what it is.
mind, this is a guy who, when he says these things, he goes home and says, "What did I say? I was telling the truth." He believes that.
Yeah, I
It's
think
not.
that
It's not that he believes what he's saying is true. He has a different relationship with the truth.
Explain.
In the importance of the truth, in saying something that you know is not true, but you keep repeating it. He has a different relationship with. In
It's
other words,
utilitarian, you're saying.
well, I mean, listen, I've said this about Trump before. The man is not really rife with any sort of ideology. He doesn't have any. There is no moral compass to anything. So he has a different I don't lie because if I lie repeatedly, I feel like shit. Right? If Darrell lies all the time, Darrell's gonna feel like shit. Dustin lies every day, so that's different.
But you have no idea.
Yeah,
but-
don't
Dustin,
speak for
can
Dustin.
Dustin, can you cue up the Jaws theme? Because Louie's getting ready to talk about it.
No,
yeah.
no.
Do it again. Yeah,
We're
I'm
not
gonna
gonna do
throw it.
that.
No, no,
Wait,
come on.
No, but it's
you-
an interest. He
you
has an
speak-
interesting theory here.
It's
The
an
theory he's got going.
It's the best explanation.
If
ever.
your life doesn't consist of certain moral,
He-
if you can go through life and saying it's really just about moment to moment what gets things done, and that's the way you live, then morality doesn't play a part in that.
I think Trump
He's a
really.
survivalist.
I think Trump really considers people that have any sort of moral guidelines in their life as
Weak.
a weakness.
Yeah. So
Like you've not figured it out. You've
Yeah.
not figured
but,
it out.
But to say things like that woman that Yovanovitch that testified yesterday, that she was actually responsible for all the current ailments in the Ukraine, and to say that when the president says it, there are people that are going to believe it.
yes.
Well, he also said that she was responsible for the unrest in Somalia. She should have fixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While she was up there,
She's behind
while
the
she
AIDS
was
virus too.
testifying.
But
Like
you
he-
can't-
You can. He's like saying
Yeah.
that's all.
You're not going to catch up with this, and the minute you start trying is the minute you lose.
But it started when he was running for president. I remember one specific interview in the, it was it was while he was in campaign mode. And they said, so this person did this Democrat did this, and that's wrong. And he goes, yes, it's wrong. But your guy who you endorsed did the same thing. He goes, yeah. So it was right. No, but it was right. He should have done that. So it was wrong when she did it, yes. And he did the exact same thing, yes. And it was right. Yeah, it was right when he did it.
Yeah.
And he just said it unapologetically. This is the action. The crime was committed. That guy was wrong. She did it, but she was right. And so as long as you can start from the premise that there is no objective truth, then you can go anywhere you want. And that's what's killing me about this
Say it with
election.
conviction.
Different relationship with the truth.
No, it's the elimination of the concept that there is an objective truth, that it doesn't really matter what happened on a given night. It's whatever you can get people to think happened.
But that, but
Yeah,
that's,
and
that's been
there
his
was a time
pattern.
when Giuliani, for a couple of days, was even saying, even the truth isn't true.
But let's go back. So,
But he did say that. He
Which was
did
great,
say that.
which was amazing. He said it.
He said it.
He said that.
Even the truth isn't
I
true.
studied journalism. I think you're.
I'm not doing a speech impediment, all right, for Giuliani.
No, don't.
Even the truth,
It's
it's
a
got.
denture
No, I'm not doing that.
Come on.
No, it's no, it's no.
Hey, but why is it that for some reason am I the only one who I can't stand that fucking guy with Jim Jordan?
Oh.
But
Oh.
Giuliani makes me laugh. For some reason, he's a likable
I,
guy.
I can watch him all day.
I mean,
But it's like watching Danny DeVito.
Does
Like, there's
anybody here
something
know
that's
who-
Like, it's such a beautiful train wreck, and I want to hug both of them at the same time. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's you
because
guys
he's
should
so
analyze my dreams,
inept.
but-
That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
Trump is insidious and dangerous. You know, Jim Jordan is mad and angry and but Giuliani is just so fucking clumsy.
Yeah.
It's
I-
like
I
don't
Herman
think-
Munster.
I don't think Giuliani's
His
inept. though.
iPad.
I don't
They
think
they
he's
played a
inept.
clip of him talking to a Vanity Fair interview. Did you hear this?
see it.
And he's like, "I'm gonna be the hero."
Yeah, yeah, he did.
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a quote. No, I'm gonna be the hero.
He believes it.
Because once this all comes out and we see what criminals the Bidens were in their mind, they're gonna be heroes, all of them.
Okay, Louie, there's a question for you. Do you
Yes, sir.
think that Trump believes that Biden and son are actually criminals in Ukraine, or is he making that up?
No,
'Cause
I think he
buys
believes it.
Yeah, I don't think he
I
believes
think
it.
I think he believes it.
No.
I think he thinks everybody's a criminal. That's why it's okay that he does the shady shit that he does.
He
He
is
thinks
an
everybody's shady,
opportunist
everybody's
survivalist.
nepotistic,
Well,
everybody's opportunistic, and that's why he thinks it's. I 100% think he thinks that
All
that's
right,
out.
I want to ask Louis this because Louis has a really great take on Trump, by the way. So Biden goes over there doing the bidding of the president of the United States. It's not his bidding. He's talking for President Obama, and he says, "Remove this corrupt guy, or we won't play ball with you." Right? In Trump's mind, is that close enough to a crime committed by Joe Biden?
In Trump's mind, it's no different than him sending Giuliani saying, fire this person because this person's going to come out. In his mind, it's no different. That's why he truly doesn't see it any differently.
Do you think he studied what it was required to be president, or did he just go in and say?
Yeah, no, he definitely did.
He just
He's
walked
a
in and said,
big
"This is like
study
being
guy.
a king, right? Or running a company."
Yeah, he wanted his own TV
He's a
channel.
scholar.
Trump said something that was very telling. One day they said, "Listen, if you do win the election, you're going to have to, won't be able to run your company anymore. You won't be able to be involved. If there's anybody who could do that, it could be me. I could run the country, and I could run my business. Trust me." And in his mind, he's doing it in a completely different way. Every time Trump hears on the news from CNN, when CNN says, "This has never happened before. This is unprecedented."
Every day.
He loves that because he's like, "Of course it is, because
Yeah.
I'm here." This is unprecedented. He loves that, and
But
we already talked about the.
when does he stop feeling good? I mean, I could take a shit on people's tables every time I go to dinner at their house,
That wouldn't be good.
and people
This
would
one's
they'd
moving,
say it's
apparently, so-
unprecedented.
Yeah.
But when would someone say, it's unprecedented? It's not really that cool.
Because when he hears unprecedented, I believe he hears it's unprecedented because you have these career politicians, people who've been doing this for 50, 60 years. That's all bullshit and deep state. I am doing something different. So everything I do is going to be unprecedented.
Yeah, in his mind, it's like that's so special, that shit I just took.
Look at him and
Something, something people are going to be talking about for a really
Long time we'll be talking about that shit.
But it's also governance by churlishness. It's governance by just grudge and irritability. And when do people get tired of that?
well, I think they are tired of it. But what does that matter, right? Like it's worked for him in real estate. It's worked for him in Hollywood, and it's all he knows. He's not.
Do you
this-
think that there's a faction of the electorate whose father growing up was just that guy, and they think that's what a man is a guy
Yeah,
who's
there's a lot of
a
that.
bully?
We talked about this last week, and George Lakoff is really big on this, and just the strict father figure. I think they do. They look at that and they say, now that's a man. That's a man who's going to stand up. All right, he's got some stuff on the side. Daddy loves another girl other than mommy, but there's some of that. But he seriously.
How did that?
I don't know what that was. Yeah.
It's pretty specific.
Way, you did a very
really. Do you have something you want to process, Aaron?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
I think that, but I think that has a shelf life. I really do. I think that sort of because here's the thing: is he has 10,000 people at his rallies. These people come out, but how many of those people are there because they're angry and they're emotional? How many of those people is he actually inspiring?
All right.
And
So
how
if you're
many
not
of those women
inspiring
are
people-
actually thinking of him as an attractive? It's like Fat Elvis. There was a portion of America that would have fucked Elvis when he was 70 because he was there was a woman I saw wearing a shirt with an arrow that said, "He can grab my pussy."
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
And that's
yeah.
so. Is he a sex symbol to this
Yeah.
portion of the electorate?
He is. He's a godlike figure to a lot of people in that base. He is, and that's a
Was-
real thing
did,
too.
Did anyone here? Does anyone in the audience would you ever have found Trump to be an attractive-looking man?
He was very attractive in the 80s. He was
Someone
attractive
said
when
yes.
he was. Yeah, he was. He was an attractive dude back
What
in
about
the
that
days before
video
he
where
went
he's
Really?
dancing next to Epstein with that that
Oh,
hips thing he's doing?
He's just doing the white man's overbite.
Yeah. Well, all right. So, if I may, I'd love to pull Trump out of this for a little bit.
Please.
I'm sorry. By the way, yeah, this is kind of preaching to the choir, and not only that, it's pretty, it's pretty stale stuff.
But it's
Isn't
not. 'cause
Trump
it's
kind of
very
a
real.
bully? Wow, that newsflash. Right.
Yeah, but I think it affects people whether you're for or against. I think it is a very real thing. It's a part of our lives. We talk about that a lot too. That whether he's in office or not, he's there until he is deceased. So it is something we have to deal with.
And it is a chance for Louie. Louie did a serviceable Trump, I thought.
Yeah,
earlier.
but what
You
if
do
he's
Trump.
a-
You do
what-
Trump. Do you do Trump?
I'm not doing Trump.
What
no.
if he's in the joint? He's gonna do a TV show from the joint.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I think he's gonna batten down
It's
the
the king
latches
of
and
comedy,
not go
right?
anywhere.
I don't think
but,
he's going anywhere near
Yeah.
the joint. I don't think that's gonna
If
happen,
he
but-
leaves willingly, we'll do a big if on that.
Well, the talk was that someone would strike a deal to say, "Look, step down, and we'll keep you out of the joint."
Yes.
Yeah, but that's a big that kills the ego. There's no.
Wait, we have some grumbling in the background. Some people there didn't like the thought.
No, I think they were agreeing.
Oh, they were agreeing?
Hmm?
Oh, I thought it was like, no, he's not going to the fucking joint. Like
No,
my Fox News friends, my friends at Fox
Here's-
News.
No, they don't. I think people realize that this guy's not. If you're waiting to see Trump get handcuffed and brought out of the White House, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's like, but there's still people waiting for it. Like, which is why I had the conversation. I was talking to somebody last night, and we were talking about Rachel Maddow, and to me, she's the same coin as Sean Hannity. She's just the other side of the coin. It's so insane the other way. It's like she's convinced that he is going to get taken out of the White House in handcuffs, and she preaches that to her people all
Has
day
she
long.
actually said that?
Yes.
But he's built the system around
Dustin?
him.
I'm looking it up. Can't find it.
So packing the courts, 150 plus federal judges who are most of them unqualified.
Explain that to the audience.
He's got
Trump has put 149 federal judges in place
think
while
it's
in
even
office.
While everybody calls him stupid, while
everyone's
everybody
calling him
says
stupid.
Giuliani
Well,
and him are inept.
It's
Look
still
at his hair.
led
Who
by
is
the
this
Federalists.
cross-eyed
It's
guy?
led by Mitch McConnell.
Yesterday, I just opened the paper. There's a picture of this cross-eyed weirdo who says, "New judge, never tried a case."
Yes.
that
we
was,
talked about
we were
that.
What was
talking
his
about
name?
that.
Find his name. The anti-LGBTQ guy who's never.
He
tried
used to
case.
drive a beer truck,
Well,
but now he's a federal judge.
his communications director used to be his caddy, so I mean, why not?
But there's this feeling
No,
that
He
but
writes
ex-
his tweets. His caddy, Trump's caddy, writes his tweets sometimes.
That means
Yeah.
can you be a federal judge?
I'm
Apparently, you
going to
don't need
be.
experience anymore.
Well, the bar said that he was unqualified, which usually means okay, the Senate won't approve, but the Senate's like, that sounds good.
Experts
So-
don't matter anymore. The idea that you study something that you lived in Ukraine and you've known it for 20 years and you
Yeah.
have experience, that's a detriment because you might be partial to those Ukrainians.
So-
But did you
My-
guys see him being interviewed? This new federal judge. He's like,
Did anybody know about this?
I don't know.
Brett Talley.
Like, what do you think about tort reform? They just told me to be here at 4 o'clock. They said be here at 4 o'clock and I could meet the president and what? I don't
And this
fucking
is
know.
a lifetime appointment.
Did you see the interview? No, check out the
Lifetime
interview
federal
online.
judge.
He's not exaggerating, by
No,
the way.
no,
This
no,
guy
he's like,
looks like the
I don't
deer.
know. Tort reform. Nothing. No, am I?
And what about the crying guy too? The guy that burst into tears.
That was
Wait,
awesome.
what happened? I didn't see this.
Brett Kavanaugh.
Bringing back John Boehner, just
No,
channeling him in
There
his
was
tears.
a guy. There was a guy. Talk about that.
Oh, they were confirming someone, and they said that you really, you have all these comments against this community and against trans people. He said, I do not. And he's like weeping. He's like, get these people out of here. Get an expert up here.
Yeah, he was like, I don't hate people.
Wait, whoa.
I love my gays.
I don't hate that.
So the point is that
That's another judge.
Is that a
was
good
confirmed?
impression of
Yeah,
him?
that actually happened.
yeah, it was very subtle, but it was
Yeah.
just tears streaming down his face. And then the woman yesterday.
Subtle weeping.
It's just too much show business. The fact that the woman yesterday gets this standing ovation, I don't want someone to get a standing ovation for their testimony.
that
just
was
want,
like
I just
that was
want the
this
truth
exhale,
out.
though, that I think because a lot of people in that room too were just they kind of wanted that adult. I think they wanted to hear someone who was a nonpartisan public servant, which is what you should be in those roles. And finally, one speaks out and says, "No, I'm being." There's
The
a subpoena,
reason
I'm
she
coming
got a
in,"
standing ovation is because she has a amazing career. 33
Exactly,
years. She
and
was in
people
the armed
respect
forces.
that.
And Trump sent
I
that
don't
tweet.
see that as theater,
That was
though.
them just applauding, like, we applaud you for your career and who
Exactly.
you are. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Yes, and
It's
she had
almost-
courage.
It
Isn't
was
it
very
almost-
courageous,
Just
but
talk
it
to
doesn't
some
help us.
I need it. I don't have the
It
cord
doesn't
list.
help the cause
I'll
to
get it.
have it
I'm gonna go-
become a
I'll get
game
it.
where you applaud.
It's
You
time
know.
for Louie to come into the crowd.
Yeah.
'Cause we have
Just,
some
I need
fertile-
the cord list, Dustin. I'm coming back for it.
I can
So
walk
why don't
around
you
with
prepare it?
I'm out here.
That's great.
Louie.
Nice of you. It's weird though. This like godlike voice is gonna actually show himself. He's handsome. though.
So,
Yeah. So I guess we'll keep talking.
so then Al
So why
Sharpton
don't
said,
I just do it. You can just go on the stage.
Can you?
Well,
do
here's the
Sharpton?
deal.
Do I?
If you went back, if you had a time machine, right?
I do.
And you could go back. Let's say you go back to Rockingham Avenue on the night in 1994. You know, when OJ, and you could just stand across the street and watch. You would see what happened, and it would matter. You could say, "Now I know."
I'd rather say, "Hey, don't do that, man."
Go ahead. One guy tried that. He went back for his glasses. He said, "Don't do that. He's not here." I'm suggesting that there is a truth that matters. What happened matters, and that's what we're losing.
agree.
And that scares me.
All right. So one point before we do this is what
Yeah.
I kind of want to go to was
I'm going to come out there, and you guys could actually.
The-
We've heard lots of little utterances and grunts. This is your time
So-
to shine.
Gen Z, which is going to be the biggest voting population out there, who have started to prove that they will come out. They've doubled their
What is it?
Gen Z.
What is Gen Z?
Gen Z
What-
millennials.
which years
So
is
you're
that?
talking, well, some Gen Zs aren't even of voting age yet. I think it's like 13 to 20 or something like that. And then millennials take over the other gap. But it's the biggest voting bloc in the country. They traditionally come out the least, but now they are actually starting to turn out the vote. The point I'm trying to make here, horribly, is that they're not this one monolith. Like they're not all progressive. Like they're actually pretty split in conservative and liberal young voters, but they agree on Enlightenment values.
And what's the other
The
value?
sovereignty of reason,
and
basically.
the E,
And
the environment. But
Yeah.
it's across the board. They're
Yeah,
worried about
across
the
the board.
environment, and that's like it's the environment and probably our democracy.
And a lot of these young conservatives actually clap back at Trump. They aren't big Trump supporters, but they are true conservatives.
Do you
who
think
are-
it's an elite white old minority that's going to die off? That's just very loud, and it is
Yes.
a minority?
So, all right, and this is just my personal belief. This is certainly not like me speaking on behalf of the company or anything, but I do believe that this is your last bastion of, because the world is changing. It is a more brown and black and mixed world now, and I think that it's there's an upswell of younger elected officials. They're seeing their power potentially leave, and this is the last chance to keep it, which is why they're stacking courts. They're not really playing
But
by
is
the
it fair to
rules.
say that the white person being banished is not people like me and Louie who don't care about?
I'm not
No.
even saying
like
white.
we
I'm
don't
just
mind
saying
we don't
it's-
mind sharing power.
Yeah.
No, we
I
We're
think
talking
it's an
about people
old
that-
guard who has
that don't
power.
want to share power.
Yes.
And
This
by the
is
way,
like your
I'm
Mitch
just
McConnell's. Like,
Like
I'm
Mitch
barely
McConnell.
white. I wasn't white enough for Claire's family from North Carolina because I'm a little dark.
No, I'm talking about
you
Steve
look extra
King.
dark this week.
I do.
Steve King, like
Where
how
I
is
come
that
That's
guy?
the guy,
in
man.
the
That
deep south.
face.
Yeah.
I grew up in
Where
the
you
deep
get-
south.
who's
People
just-
thought I was black.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
You're
just
You're,
close.
and you're transparent.
I'm transparent. I was too dark. Boy, they did not like the colored people. People of color. Like where I'm from, you're either if you're different, you're either black or you're gay. Like I'm from the deep fucking south, yo. I'm from down there.
You know Shorty?
I don't know Shorty.
He lives in a
Louie
hole.
knows Shorty.
All right,
Does this
let's.
Southern voice. Yeah.
I'm
okay.
gonna go out to the audience.
What did
We're
you
gonna-
ask me about Al
we're gonna-
Sharpton?
I asked if you can do him.
I'll do him sometime, but this is Louie's time to.
No. You got now. We heard
He's
there
going
was
to
some
find
grunts
some victims, so you should do Al Sharpton
and
while he's
some.
doing them.
Did you guys have something you want to say?
Oh, have you heard the short story? It's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it's a good story.
No, Louis did. Louis
Louis
did
did it.
Shorty.
You
All
can
right, here
tune
we
into
go.
the podcast and listen
One-
last
one-
week to hear it.
I'll
Wait,
try sharp.
what
At the end of the show, I'll try.
We have
Sharpton.
we
I would
have we have a volunteer. What is your name?
Janet.
Hi, Janet.
Hey, Janet.
Hello.
Hi, Janet.
I'm just astounded by the immorality of the administration and the fact that more people aren't upset about it, right? The fact that the Republicans can go, oh, this is all fine, right? The president's fine. Like, at what would the president have to do to make you think it isn't fine? And I don't think there's anything, and that's really disturbing.
I think, to your point, the loudest voice in the room, right? I think that you have the Senate who doesn't care about morality. At least that's how it looks. And I think his base.
It will change when it becomes culturally acceptable to change. When the tide turns, I think it'll turn quickly.
But I think the majority of the population actually does have distaste for lack of morality.
But they don't care
You-
because it's owning the libs. Right now, the immorality makes liberals angry, and so that's cool. They delight in people squirming that they think talk down to them.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Midwest and you think that this asshole me from Hollywood is talking down to you, let's fucking shove this shit in his face.
Yep.
That's what it's about.
You would be
But
considered
you being
an
on the other end
elitist.
isn't going to change the way you feel, and it's not going to change the fact that you're bothered by the immorality as well.
No, they're more delighted by me being uncomfortable than they are offended by the immorality.
But you're not changing your views,
But it will
and that's
change.
a bigger population.
It will change because the culture is affected by television. The culture
Agreed.
is affected by the Senate, and
Uh-huh.
everyone's suddenly shifting. If Republicans are now turning on Trump, it will change.
Can I say, when Trump was elected, in my mind, there are two really serious problems in our world. One's the environment that you brought up. The other is income inequality. And during his administration, none of those things have improved. They have all gotten worse by
He'll say the economy
exponentially.
has gotten better, though.
Not the economy, inequality. It has not filtered through. So
Right.
we've not only do we have global warming, we have particulate matter in the environment increasing so that people are sicker, people are dying, and then we have no money or very little money has gone to people who were struggling when he was elected. They're still struggling.
But he says it is, and he
And they
just
believe
keeps
it.
saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and
but
the
if you heard the
trickle-down theory.
have you heard this statistic?
Thank
We
you.
talked about this last week that 70% of Americans can't put together $400 in cash. So if they're coming up with 300,000 new jobs, really, so what?
We said it last week.
Yeah.
It's
What do
Uber,
you thi- what do you
it's
think about
Uber and
that,
Lyft
Jan?
drivers.
What do you think about that, Janet?
Stacking.
To basically pay your medical expenses,
Yeah, the
which are horrific,
underemployed.
and then pay for anything else. So so many people are struggling, and that's why the man got elected, and he has not helped them, and somehow they can't see that.
But
and
there's a
that's
wonderful
frustrating.
article which just was out today, and I forget what paper it was in, which said that the Republican Party has literally become the party of lies. They just and they all kind of know it, but they just know that if you embrace this lie and ride it like a tiger, they can't really stop now. They're riding the tiger. The lie is the lie, and they'll take it to the finish line. So it's up to people like you to basically speak out on social media, to vote with your feet, and make this go
But
away.
it's sort of like battered wives syndrome. No matter what you present the victim, the evidence, the predictions.
But are we
of-
saving the victim, or are we mobilizing everyone else?
I think the more you try to talk down to Trump supporters and call them stupid, the more that this
The more it
perpetuates.
enrages
I
them.
agree. Yeah.
We have a gentleman who wants to say something. What's your name?
Asa.
Asa.
Hey,
Yes.
Asa.
So I have two things. One is a quick, fun thing for your fact checker to do, and that is
Like his job.
yes,
Yeah.
right.
Well, Louie took
for a
my
start.
Oh.
So if he looks up narcissist, I think just while I'm giving a comment, he will find out everything we need to know about Trump, just under the definition of narcissist. And secondly, my parents are like born again fundamentalist Christians, and I'm always asking them about how can you still support Trump because he's anti everything that you supposedly believe in. And it kind of reveals that, like, for them, it's not about what Trump stands for, or anything. It's just that they hate Democrats so much. So whoever you put up there, it doesn't matter. He literally could shoot somebody, and they still are never voting for, like, Hillary or somebody like that. It's like, it's just impossible. But anyway, I'm interested in the narcissist thing. I can't look it up myself because my phone is in this lock
Yeah.
I'm glad you shared that about your phone. No, but you're absolutely right. It's owning the libs, and
Would you be
What were you gonna ask me?
referring to narcissistic personality disorder? Yeah. Yeah, the definition involves a pattern of self-centered, arrogant thinking and behavior, a lack of empathy and consideration for other people, excessive need for admiration. That sound right?
But here's something
that's
we
the
learned in the
definition, not
program of recovery, which is that coming from a place of fear and rage seldom solves a problem, and often coming from a place of love does. So is there a solution that's love-based and not just rage-based to clap back at what we perceive to be this immorality?
I think so.
Cory Booker is running on love. And I'm not bringing that joke back up. I'm serious.
And
he's literally running on love.
He's polling at 1%.
You're the one who said scoring in the end zone, right?
Listen.
No,
scoring
I
in the
said
end
he
zone.
doesn't
Trying
have
not
an
to go
end
back
zone.
there.
We're not. Why do when I come back on stage do we start with the nonsense?
For instance, it's not like Elizabeth Warren, who has that Pocahontas thing that Trump can really score with. You know.
Our friend Bridget said something amazing last week. She goes, "So now you have everybody agrees Trump is a narcissist. I don't even think Trump denies that he's a narcissist, right?
Not everybody.
does.
So now you have a narcissist who." Every narcissist feels like the world revolves around you. Everything is about me. The world revolves around me. Now it kind of does. So he's a narcissist that the world actually revolves around, and
Yeah.
it's just feeding it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my friend Lauren, who
Narcissist,
always wants the
sociopath.
mic, but then she'll say no.
Yeah. Lauren also wants us to
what?
look up the
No,
term
tell-
autocrat. But,
I want Lauren to.
Lauren, come on. I'm going to come down
come
with
here,
the mic.
Lauren.
All right, I'll look up.
Let's put her on
autocrat.
camera. She loves like the spotlight.
Lauren, just a quick
Wait,
fact
why
check.
is he a sociopath?
He just has no regard for anyone's feelings, anything that anyone's going through. He just doesn't fucking care.
Cares about his own feelings.
I don't know about sociopath. This is a person with personality disorder manifesting itself in extreme antisocial attitudes and behavior and a lack of conscience.
He doesn't
Okay.
like animals. He doesn't have any animals. That's
Yeah,
Okay,
the
That's
pet
true.
thing. The pet thing is big.
Well, it says antisocial
thing.
attitudes,
And
but he
hold
seems
on, what
pretty
about-
social.
What about autocrat? Look up that definition.
Autocrat. We know what
She's a
autocrat
really
is, right?
feisty
I
Shane.
feel like Siri back here.
looked up
autocrat.
Siri, what's autocrat?
A ruler that has absolute power.
Well, there you go.
But that's his perception going in, was that he would be afforded the same absolute power as if he were running a corporation.
Yeah.
And no one
Yeah.
bothered to tell him that that's not how it works.
Yeah,
and
but
he
it
didn't
is.
read it.
But he's bending it to work that way.
That's the point.
The institution is very vulnerable right now, and it could potentially go that
Does
way.
anybody here, anybody else in this room have fear for our democracy?
Yes.
All right, what's
Like,
the fix?
that's the
Tell
I
me
have a
the
fear for our-
fix, because we're talking about all these problems
Young
and saying things we agree.
people.
What are we going to do?
More people voting is a fix. If it's become so obvious that people are voting in a certain way, that's the fix. So more people have to vote.
It's numbers. It's that's all we have.
Brexit.
Numbers.
Somebody
I
said-
may
somebody said
distrust
Brexit.
technology, but if you read after 10 years of iPhones and you see people standing in line, suddenly you want to buy one. It just becomes normalized and you want it. So we have to get this normalized, this idea of, you know, the trend is going this way, and we have to get people to just see that that's where the train's going, whether they want it to or not. It has
You
to be
mean
a
to turn
positive
out the
direction.
vote, or
Yeah, they have to think that there's a chance that
yeah.
that if they back this Trump guy, it's the wrong side of history. It's going to fail. Right
know
now,
what?
it looks like a
Yeah.
winner.
It's
Well,
really interesting
yeah.
too, because it's like so one of the things I don't hear that much anymore, and I will credit this situation for this, is I don't hear our system is broken, our system just doesn't work. I don't hear that anymore, because now the three branches of government and our system's looking pretty good. Like,
For-
just keep our system intact, right?
You think the three branches are looking good right now?
No. The concept of the three branches of
Oh,
government.
yeah.
The entire concept and the entire platform that our system is built on right now, to me, looks really good.
But it's
like, let's
also-
follow it. Let's Congress should have as much power as the executive. Like, this is what we need to do.
It's
But
built
it's
on
like
more
he was-
norms than laws.
Isn't
though.
it feel like he was a grenade tossed in just to find the flaws in it, though?
Well, I think that is the one silver lining as far as, yes, he woke up a complacent society. He put red paint on all the holes. And I think now we see what we're actually dealing with. I don't know what that reference
Red
is. Hey, you
paint
guys have
on
like
all the
fleas in
holes.
jars and shit and like people living in
that was a
holes for
great
3
analogy.
days.
I like
I
that.
can have red holes.
Red paint on all the holes. I like
Wait,
that.
what?
Can you edit that out somehow?
No.
Hold for edit.
Strike that from the
Hold
record.
for edit.
I'm
Strike
sorry
the
about
red
the
hole.
fleas and jars story.
No, I really liked it.
It was
I got
good. No, the
caught
learned
in
how.
there.
I heard
like
about
the red paint
yeah.
on the holes.
Aw, thank
I
you.
think it's very sweet.
But after a while, they open the jar and they just stop painting red holes.
There is a connection there, yeah.
We have something that we like to do here on the summit, and it's called the Puckered Pickle Award.
Do we have something?
And we have a friend of ours named Daniel who came up with this concept of the Puckered Pickle Award, and it's exactly what it sounds like. And who
What does it sound like?
who this
I'm
week
still
would be
confused.
the puckered
We
pick?
got surprised
Daryl,
last week.
Daryl,
Yeah.
what is a puckered pickle?
Who gets the puckered pickle this
What
week?
she asked?
What
What
is
is a puckered pickle?
I know who's getting it.
I think it's.
Is it good or bad?
First, we have to explain
let's
what a
explain
puckered
it.
pickle is.
Does
It's what
anyone does anyone know what the puckered pickle is?
Someone who used to be a cucumber.
No, it's a thing. It's like you're you know.
A part of your anatomy looks like a puckered pickle.
your butthole.
In England.
There it is.
It's funny.
So,
it's
Who
funny
has
in
a
a Cockney
butthole that looks
accent.
like a pickle? A pickle is a.
Do the Cockney desk.
So puckered. Yeah. Okay. This is how it came up. He's gonna do our friend Daniel telling us about the puckered pickle, and this will explain it to you doubters.
Well, do
I
not
don't
Google
know,
it.
Fucking Dan. Well, the puckered pickle is the worst of humanity.
So it's a bad thing.
It's the worst award you can have.
That's what it's the word. It's like it's the basic person who was like, and this is perfect because we had all these. Did anybody watch any of the congressional hearings this week?
Round of applause if you watched the impeachment hearings.
Yeah. Okay. So, in those hearings, who seemed to be the most like
Immoral.
just the most?
Jim
Jordan.
I would think it's Jim Jordan.
Nunes could always take.
Yeah, Devin Nunes. That's a good one.
When he read I'd like to read a transcript, another transcript from President Trump. Of a call he had.
That's
In which this is a call between him and Ukraine. He says, "Hey, I don't like quid pro quo or nothing." And the guy says, "Prick what?" And Trump says, I don't do prick quo or nothing." And the guy says,
And he
"Huh?"
had all week to prepare
He says,
this.
"I just love you." And Trump says, "Well, you know what? You're coming to the White House now."
coming to the White House.
Because we don't do quid pro quo or nothing, and you can come over here. So did he not read that?
No, he didn't.
I think
he
it's
read
from
it.
the
I mean,
Irishman.
it's
No, I don't
a little
know.
bit exaggerated, but yeah, he did. It was basically what he read. But
he read it at the start of the proceedings and it went on and on about.
Yeah.
I just want you to come to the White House. You got them guns, right? You got them guns I sent you, right?
yeah, interesting.
I got you to laugh pretty hard there.
I think
Yeah.
Jim Jordan.
Did anyone like that bit? I just fucking made that up.
We just discovered
Because
that
he
on here.
read this transcript on and
Yeah.
on and on. You got the guns, right?
They're honestly
Okay.
auditioning. They are auditioning for.
Well, you got look, Jim Jordan. You got the guy. Every morning he gets up and reads in the paper how he's going to get busted for allowing
Yeah.
sex molestation, and then he has to go in these fucking hearings.
Does everyone know about that? By the
He's
way,
a
what's the accusation there?
Well, he was a sponsor of a wrestling team, and the coach was.
he was like the assistant.
Yeah,
director,
he was the assistant
athletic
director of a group of wrestlers apparently, and they're claiming some of the wrestlers that he knew about this other guy, this doctor on the wrestling team, who was just routinely being sexually abusive to the wrestlers, and he just said, "Yeah, whatever, that's Bill."
Yeah, that was his response. Yeah.
does
Yeah,
that not go
whatever.
allegedly?
That's Bill.
Yeah.
it's alleged. But meanwhile, this is what he's got. And if you have that,
But do you
and
think that's why he's auditioning so hard and why he's the new promise child? 'Cause he's not supposed to be in these hearings.
No,
they,
he was.
They
he
waved
was put,
him in.
He's a
They waved
handsome
him
man.
in.
He's a handsome
And he doesn't wear a jacket.
And he's trying for
Very
that
like,
aqua
you know,
velvet.
Steve McQueen, kind of like, hey, I'm just up here.
This is
I'm back in the
ridiculous.
press.
Yeah.
Handsome to who?
Yeah,
I
I was
don't-
gonna ask
well,
that too.
I gotta
Shane's
say,
the film
Shane, tell us
director.
more.
He is a handsome guy.
no,
and
he has a
he's
look. He has a look.
Would you
And,
cast
know,
him?
Yeah, you would never cast Devin Nunes in something, but if you had like a
All right,
guy-
as the film director, what would you cast Jim Jordan as?
Jim Jordan would be like the pilot.
Yeah.
Of
I
the
can see that.
hijacked
Does the plane
Yeah,
go
see that.
down?
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
but he'd be the pilot. He does have a pilot.
But he's the
kind
hero
of
that
thing.
lands on the Hudson, or is he the one that crashes and then eats people on a mountain? It's gotta be.
Think
It's
about
one or the
eating
other.
Jim
Eat
Jordan.
people.
No, he's the eater.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
You went broad with the eating the people thing.
Did I get weird
You
again?
got a little weird with the eating of the
We're
people.
gonna get you back to
doing your
therapy here.
inside
But-
voice.
All right, so Jim Jordan, we all agree should be
Puckered-
this
puckered
week's
pickle.
Puckered Pickle Award.
Wait.
By round of applause. Do we like that? Puckered Pickle for Jim Jordan?
That feels good.
Round of
But-
applause to be like the award.
What?
Well, him or Nunez.
But who is the failure on the Democratic front? Who's
Yeah, we
not
have to
doing
have
the
a Democrat
job
in there,
that they
too.
should be doing.
Who's not?
I know what I will say though that what they didn't.
I
do
say
this
Adam
time
Schiff.
is They didn't do the monologue. They
What?
went right into questioning at least this time. So I thought that was pretty good.
But
There was
Pelosi
no, like,
did the greatest thing ever 2 days ago.
Oh,
You saw
when
it.
she addressed
when she said, now if there is exculpatory evidence, Mr. President, that means it indicates your innocence. And she just let it out there. There wasn't
she
even
did
any.
another one of these, a verbal one of these. Yeah. That was a
But
nice one.
Adam Schiff, because he's sitting up there and they keep doing those close-ups on his eyes that are like bulging out of his head.
They are kind of bulging out of his
Comedians are making
What-
fun of it by making their eyes
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
I mean, what? That's a little
He
weird.
took a lot of fire though. and he's
Yeah, and
just-
also the pencil neck label.
yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Who said
Trump
that?
was calling him pencil
Yeah.
neck for a couple
Oh,
days.
Punch,
And then it went shifty shift. He should
Shifty
have stuck
Shift.
with
This is
pencil
such
neck.
a shift show. They're just the play
The
on the
shift
shift.
show
Well,
thing
you
is
guys
smart.
aren't
I like
aren't
that.
young. You're not that young. You're not kids. You didn't grow up this way, right? This is unusual, right? This
Yeah.
is nothing like when
Wait,
I was
did-
through Watergate.
But did anyone grow up in this? Is this normal to anyone?
I mean,
Yeah, but you're
oh,
old,
there's
Lauren.
Lauren again, who doesn't want to speak, but she
She
just
just
keeps
wants to be
piping
a
up.
heckler.
She just
No,
She's
but
like
she has
the
a lot of
old
So you
heckler.
get the microphone in Congress. Come Monday morning, everyone's there. You get to speak. How do you fix this? What do you say?
Yeah, Lauren in Congress, first of all, is the best visual ever.
she would say, "It's a joke." Now listen, listen.
What is it though? These are serious claims.
Next
with
week-
evidence around
And
it.
the Kurds don't think it's a joke.
No,
People
and the
are
Kurds
getting
are
no,
dying.
no.
Like, this is a real
But
thing.
here's the thing: is next week we're actually going to talk about something, and it's the influencers and social media
Yeah.
and the Kardashians and Kanye and this.
Kanye will
and
be
this
here
is
next
where
week,
people
so
are
make
getting.
sure you
We
come
didn't.
out.
I don't want to say that, but and
I'm
that's
lying,
where
but I-
people are getting their information.
Yeah.
And that's where people are. And if that's where people are getting their information,
60% of news intake comes from social media for young people.
60%.
And family influence is another big one, so kind of depends
And
on
memes. Like, I just saw a meme this morning that says, isn't it funny that, like, so-and-so Adam Schiff's son is married to George Soros's daughter or something. It's just not even true.
Yeah.
But it's a meme
But that's
being
social
shared
media.
by
That's where
my
that
friends.
lives. And this whole distrusting the media too has pushed people more into social media as being somehow the voice of reason.
But like you said with the election in Kentucky, or was it Kentucky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say, if you don't like something, you could say, I heard he raped his brother.
Yep.
You just say it,
Yeah.
and it'll get picked up.
Doesn't have to be true.
It's sort of we're in the it's real, but it's not true era. Like I felt that I got an emotional punch in my gut. I shared it with my friends. We were all upset, and then I heard a counter theory on Fox.
But when is somebody
Yeah.
going to come along that
that-
actually inspires?
Yeah.
Because the person that can beat Trump and change the narrative on all this stuff is somebody that can inspire people.
Is it someone who's
Instead of just
articulate,
somebody
or is it someone who
angering
talks
people.
like him? Because
Well, we
Mayor Pete is the most articulate man I've ever heard
No,
speak.
because he inspires people. I think Mayor Pete is inspiring. I think he's the guy.
But we
going
don't
back to
have
that.
anyone that talks like him who's in the race right now. I mean, it's.
I didn't say talks
Deval
like
Patrick-
him. I
no, he
said
did.
the flip side of that coin is somebody that, because with the way and I had that thought the other day. It's like, yeah, 10,000. All these people are going to his rally, but how many of those people does Trump really inspire in their lives?
But he doesn't need to inspire them. They're in.
But
they're in.
Inspiration is stronger than that. Is my point.
Sure. Which
So
is why
somebody comes
numbers,
along-
it comes to numbers. And on the other side, as far as a question of who's going to inspire from the other side, we don't have anyone who talks like Trump. We do have intelligence. We do have thoughtfulness. Like, whether you agree with it or not is a whole other thing, and I'm not.
Well, let me throw
claiming
something
it.
out to you, because a friend
Please.
came up to me the other day and said, "You guys are deranged." He says,
Who's
first,
you guys, us for?
the Trump people, yeah. Specifically, he was talking about me and my friends who tend to skew liberal. And he said, what the fuck, of all these people, what does it have to do with your daily life? And why do you care so much? And I thought about it. And it's a good argument that they're making. Is
But was that a question of, like,
we're
privilege?
in other
or
words,
is that-
why are we so angry about Trump? What can we point to
Yeah.
that happened today
Yeah.
in my life
You hear that a
that's
lot.
worse? And I think to some extent, we're just upset at a concept of the truth and justice and all this being taken away on some level that's not purely factual.
I wish
I'll
Bridget
tell
was
you
here 'cause
something.
she's big on
I'll
that,
tell
but-
you something that's different and that affects our daily life, especially in Los Angeles. Is there was a time back in the '70s when you remember this. It was a black sheet of just horrendous smog, right? Then with Priuses and with the emissions laws and all that, that smog was sort of lifted, right? Guess what's coming back because some of those restrictions are not there anymore? There's like a thin layer of fucking smog again. That affects my life now.
Well, that's what I said to my friend is the global warming thing. I said, yeah, that's what's
The environment
going to
affects all of
affect
us.
my
Yeah.
life.
But it depends who you are, too, right? Like, the Muslim ban affects you if you're Muslim. If you are a immigrant to this country and there's immigration policy going against you, that affects you.
So if you care about someone other than yourself,
Yes.
that's the issue.
But
That's it.
empathy is not necessarily aligned with strict father.
You guys, we got to wrap this up. Dustin, you have anything you want to plug personally, bud?
Yeah. Next Saturday night at 5 p.m., I'll be here at the Hollywood Improv Lab joining you for the Summit Live.
That's
Wow.
my joke,
I like
Dustin.
that.
Thank you.
Aw.
Aaron?
Yes, I would like to plug Common Ally, nonpartisan issue-based app. I'm the co-founder of that, and we are trying to get young people to get out the vote and have their voice heard, regardless of what that voice is. So please go download the app.
And I would like to plug the Humane Farming Association, which prevents people from having cows go through an assembly line and be skinned alive without having been killed first and things like that, and gives water to sheep that are being transported for 3 days with no water. So if you have a chance to donate to the Humane Farming Association, that's great.
Is there a website?
Nice.
Darrell?
HumaneFarmingSociety.org. Is there a
Humane
URL? Or?
Farming Association, just look up Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Next week, I'm going to do everything they said on Fox News that week. Yeah. I'll do that next week.
We have a new character coming. That Darrell and I are going to work on this character this week, which is called the Republican, and it's just every talking point, Breitbart, Fox News that they do, not in an insulting way, just as a character. That's what we will be doing this week. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for listening at home. Thank you so much.
Let's have a hot mic moment.